They want to convert this into 2 residential dwellings, including extensions.
Thank you, Chairman. So on the portal with this one, it's conversion of the actual public house currently into 2 residential dwellings. There's neighbours' responses. The plans are attached on the portal. I don't know if members have seen them. Just pass them around. Of interest. And then on the statutory replies, there's 5. So the first one was WRS, which is standard. That's a remedial scheme for the investigation of unexpected ground contamination. The second one was district ward member, so that's Councillor Dan Birch, and that's a statement of support. And then local lead flood authority, so that's part of county council, no comments to make, and the same with Council Rivers Trust. However, the last one is significant. It's highways. Their position is they recommend objection, but the reason for that is insufficient information. So what they require is further detail regarding visibility displays and access. So that is potentially high impact because their opinion obviously counts strongly towards any recommendation. So the town council really needs to note that in part.
Yeah. Any further comments on this one, Councillor Davidson?
I can't vote in favour of that because we're going to lose another place where people can go and meet at a time when Droitwich is expanding. According to the Droitwich standard, the applicant says it's in a bad spot because it's no passing trade. However, it is just across the river, brook, really, from a busy park. And the Freemasons, it was in a far worse position, but it's just won an award. So can't vote in favour, so I'm going to abstain on that one.
Okay. Any further comments on this one? Councillor Brooks?
Thank you, Conrad. As I mentioned earlier, I've known Mr. Berry and I'm aware of the tremendous amount of work he's put in on that book to try and make a success of it. He's done a lot of work, and I think if he's not able to make it continue, I would doubt that anyone else could actually make it more. But I'm very sorry, yes, I don't want to see a pub go, and it's a nice, interesting pub. But I don't think opposing these plans that would actually just simply leave us with an empty building for time within the property, so for the application to come back. So on that basis, I would have to support the application, but very reluctant.
Yeah, I have the same feeling that if we don't support it and someone leaves the building and it's not sold, it's going to be an empty building again.
And I hope, unfortunately, we might get the same as across the lake here.
So that's a consideration. Are there any further comments on this? Councillor Duffy?
I'd probably be inclined to do the same as Councillor Brooks. It would be a great shame to see the pub go, but it's not like this is someone who's moved into the building or moved into the pub to turn it into houses. It's owners of the building that are going to care for the building and care for the business for as long as I don't know.
I do believe that isn't he looking for something more central as well to take his business?
That was mentioned somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, notwithstanding the comments from Councillor Davidson, again, it is a difficult situation, and we know pubs generally
I'm struggling,
struggling. And so you only have to be a bit negative, and that extra layer of struggle, it's just, I can quite see we just finish it.
Okay, well, in any eventuality, we'll need to put about the parking,
Highways.
highways issue. So, have we a proposer for this? Okay, Councillor Brooks, and is there a seconder? Councillor Clements. All in favour we're going through.
Okay, so we've got one abstention from Councillor Davidson. So to support, but to comment on the highways requirements.
The next one on the list is a reserves matter application for land at Newland Road. This is the erection of 50 dwellings and the approval of layout, scale, appearance and landscaping. This has always been a controversial issue and we have always refused these because of infrastructure, etc., etc. But this one has already been approved, but we can still have our say on our comments. So I'll let Mark.
Thank you, Chairman. So background on this one, Town Council's response, which was 2nd of July 2024, was an objection. It was in keeping with most for the Newland Road and Newland Lane developments. So to recommend refusal, the proposals are considered to be overdevelopment of the area and there is insufficient infrastructure in place to serve further residential dwellings on Newland Lane and Newland Road. The LLFA consultation, so that was local flooding authority, response of a holding objection is also noted as a significant factor with regard to suitable drainage for the site. Just as an aside, that aspect has been resolved, was resolved before it was passed back in 2024. Various statements of objection from neighbours have been noted, including one that relates to matters of visibility, vehicular access, safety. This aspect has been referred through to the WCC ward member to Highways for their assessment and further interpretation. So that was our position in 2024. And then simultaneously there was 2 responses from Highways, one of the 3rd of July 24, and that it's lengthy, but it recommends no objections subject to conditions and obligations. And then they did a full addendum, which is based on and this was a few days later, 9th of July 24, and it covers a lot of detail, which is in line with the many objections from neighbours and residents at that time. So, give an idea, Newland Lane, walking distances, level of traffic, vehicular trip rates, road safety audit, they did one of those. Says a lot of information, schools provision, doctor's surgeries, footway connection to Wildlife Way, master plan and layout. So the conclusion was that they supported that, and with the reserve matters that's now being consulted on, Highways have not put a response in for the reason that they stand by the original one from 2024. So on the portal for the reserve matters, there are 6 objections from neighbours, and that they are really in the categories that I've already described: infrastructure, schools provision, connectivity, road safety, and also environment and biodiversity impact. WRS was no land contamination issues to be concerned about. Fire authority, their response was subject to comment, and that was on things like accessibility for fire engines and sufficient water supply, so that would be expected. And as I say, nothing from Highways can stand by the 2024 feasibility. So, in my opinion with this, Highways and County have addressed most of the concerns, and some of those have been raised again by some of the neighbours on this reserve matters. The only bit that hasn't is the biodiversity impact and the natural environment. As the Chairman did say, it's a reserve matters application, and the 50 houses has been passed for approval in 2024. So it is not really relevant to object to that on the basis that it's already been approved, but certainly there is mention worthiness on the environmental impact.
And I think the other thing should be taken into consideration, since Highways report in 2024, is the development on Tagwell Road, which is another 100 houses. Yeah. and that will put more traffic onto Tagwell Road, Newland Road, Copcut. So that needs to be considered as well. Also, we're looking, there's no footpath on Newland Road, which is becoming a absolute racetrack. I have got some comments from Councillor Birch, I spoke to earlier regarding this. And his take on this is he's challenged the fact that there's pedestrian access to the side of the site which leads onto a dark line with no footpath. He's raised that further. There's no footpath along Newland Lane, which we've just said. We've also discussed that the application looks as if it will be overseen by a management company. We've asked whether, as part of the S106, this can be changed to local authority of control, which is in the far better interest of the town. The design has a huge overbearing impact on Badger Close and Rabbit Close. Most of the green spaces back onto Newland Lane, where there are no properties, therefore the impact is very much on the existing residents. Access to the site is absolutely appalling. But he says he thinks it will be approved anyway. Councillor Davidson?
Yeah, apparently the layout's changed from what the residents originally were told about or notified about. So the Badgers, I keep wanting to say Badgers Street, the Badgers End residents now say that they're going to be overlooked. So that's one of their objections. One of them mentions red kites nest in the area. And my personal one there on the environment is that they mentioned getting rid of some pear or apple trees, and they need to be looked at to see if they're heritage varieties. And I'm going to abstain on it. Can't vote in favour. Because we represent the people, and that we're elected under representing whatever the People Act, and the people don't want it.
Okay, are there any further comments from anybody on this one?
Could you send them Councillor Birch's summary?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
include that.
Okay. Any further comments from anybody? Okay.
So you can comment and reaffirm the previous objection.
I think so.
And then add.
And add our further comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. About the trees as well.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
So, I second it.
So could we have a proposer? Councillor Davidson?
This is the refuse.
To refuse, yeah.
And then add further comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seconder, Councillor Brooks. All in favour? Okay. Third on the list is 1 to 3 Hanbury Street. This is just a tweak on the advertisement of the white painted letters.
I think it was only last month this one,
Yeah,
Chairman.
that's right.
So it's slight amendment to the wording on the proposed, effective, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
So on the actual advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so 24th of March was the committee's original statement of support. There was 3 statements of support from the immediate neighbours, and then no objection from Highways, which was a key one on the roadside. So there's nothing really other than to possibly reaffirm previous month's opinion.
Okay. Any further comments on that one, Councillor Brooks?
I'd be very happy to support that. Having had the earlier item about pub closing, I'm minded to support anything which is developing trade in the town. So I would certainly propose support for this.
I notice they've got a new, opticians coming in.
Yeah.
Good.
Any further comments? Your proposer? Councillor Brooks, seconder?
Sorry. It was, do we need opticians to see that sign? But, I'm sorry about that.
We got a seconder? Councillor Duffy, all in favour? Okay. And last on the list is Unit 3, George Bayliss Road. This is for change of use to a gymnasium.
I declare an interest in as much as I think I used to be a friend and would still consider myself to be. Somebody called Gareth Gordon.
So on this one, Chairman, there's no responses as of Friday on the portal.
Okay, any further comments on the change of use? Councillor Brooks?
Again, I'm trying to support the meeting, which will keep buildings occupied and obviously rates and employing people. So I'm going to support.
Absolutely, any further comments? Councillor Duffy?
Just a second, that.
Okay, thank you. All in favour?
Thank you.
Thank you. Carry on with the,
Yeah, so there's no amended.
so no amended planning applications. Item 5, decisions of the local planning authority. This has issued 5 approval notices since the last town council meeting. All 5 of these did accord with the recommendations of the council planning committee. And there have been no refusal notices.
Of the 5 approvals, 2 of those are the Chateau.
Right, okay. Item 6 to 8 are road traffic regulation acts. If you want to take these in block, unless somebody's got any comments regarding those. No, we'll take item 6 to 8 in block then. Okay,
All good.
all right, and I'll declare the meeting closed.
Sue, just watch that one as you go over that way. please.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, please don't.
Which programme got badges just in it? What are the TV programmes?
Not sure.
What's in there?
I wouldn't know.
This chair looks heavier.
It is heavy.
Everybody ready? Well, I declare the meeting open. Apologies for absence. please.
Yes, Chairman, Councillors Simpson, Humphreys and Fellows.
Thank you. Declarations of interest? Anybody?
Oh,
Oh, here we go.
the item regarding the church roof grant, I'll have to abstain because I helped them to do the application.
Any others?
I suppose just in case, I've obviously been supporting the Friends of the River Salward group who were part of helping working with the Rivers Trust on the grant request for that. But not really tied to it, but just thought I'd mention it in case.
Okay, thank you. Right. To confirm as a correct record of the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of February. Can I have proposer, seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you very much. The grant appraisal subcommittee.
Sorry.
Oh, Heritage Centre, beg your pardon. Getting ahead of myself there. To confirm the attached project impact statement and summary report, which sign off completion for the refurbishment project.
Thank you, Chairman. So it was just the 2 documents really that was circulated. One is the project impact assessment form, so that went to Woodhaven on the finance and really a executive summary of the benefits of the project. And then the evaluation report is more comprehensive, but it's quite a good document. Becky spent a lot of time on this with us, and there's quite a few before and after photos, so it shows quite starkly the improvements. So that covers a lot of information. So really, as the chairman said, that signs off the whole project.
Yeah.
So it's just for info really.
Did you have many children in during our the break?
Reasonable, but visitor numbers are definitely up. But what we're hoping this next term is school visits.
Mm.
Really engaging
Yeah.
with proper school visits.
I have been passing the word round every time I see people. I say, have you been to our heritage centre? So, right, item 5 then, the grant appraisal subcommittee. To consider the recommendation from the subcommittee meeting as outlined on the attached update schedule grant application. And these, I hope you've all seen them.
So these are recommended as presented. Just a couple to comment on. The second one, Severn Rivers Trust, that contribution is things that aren't a statutory provision. So it is a definite benefit that testing and water quality can be extended to include locally the Salwar by providing that funding. The Girl Guides, the security gates, we did ask whether Wishaven would consider paying that. They prefer not to at this time because of setting a precedent with all similar organisations and sort of multi-use buildings. So our assurance was that we would cover that cost because there is a safeguarding aspect with rough sleepers and people affecting the centre. And the last one, which Councillor Davidson mentioned there's a caveat with that one. We've asked for an undertaking, which we'll get from the Baptist Church, because they're the facilitator of this, that the funding will only be used for the roof project, for the improvements to the roof. The reason we do that is because it's section 19 is the statute. So on the summary there, it's power to provide and equip premises for social and recreational purposes. Now, the part of the roof that's being in need of repair is the multi-use bit. So it supports numerous organisations, charities, community groups. And we did something very similar with Amplet House with their boiler a few years ago. But the undertaking will confirm through our auditor that it is for wider public use and it is not for religious purposes. So as long as we've got that undertaking, which we've been sure we will get, there's no problem with that.
Right, so can we take this on block that we accept all these? Yes. So can I have a proposer, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. And a seconder, thank you, Neil. All those in favour?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Item 6, street furniture and maintenance update. I'll pass that on to you.
Again, just for information, it's a quick summary of quite a few things we've done recently. So replacement bench, this is at Colson Pits by the VP Garage. That went in a couple of weeks ago, brand new one. It's very well used, that bus stop, so I'm pleased with that. And then the bus stop opposite's been receiving attention, and so has the one by Tagwell T-Junction by the lights. There's a couple in between that are next on the list, but repaint TLC. So that's bus shelters. And then the 2 dog waste bins, so that was College Green, I think that came from Councillor Birch and Councillor Wilkins, and the one for Stayers Avenue, which is Councillor Davidson. They, seems like a long time, but they were actually feasibility checked final time and put in a couple of weeks ago. So they're all done.
Great. Okay, thank you. Any comments on that before I go on?
My comment really is not criticising the dog waste bins, because I think there are a good number around. What I would like to say is that when I first came here, there used to be a notice that say you could be fined up to £2,000 if you dropped the waste and didn't pick it up. Well, there is a certain core of people who seem to ignore it and have gone in the high street, actually walked with a big dog, dropped it in the middle of the pavement and walked on. And the George the Fifth this weekend. I mean, the regular people that I see early in the morning and so on, no problem. They've got their bags, they do the job, they even carry the bag from wherever they happen to drop it in a bin. But we have a problem that people don't seem to care about that, and I think that's a tragic thing, but I don't know what we could do to stop it.
It'd be a referral, Chairman, to Whichehaven under licensing for that signage. So
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to put
Speak
it
to
on
Tim
these ways, you know, where people walk on, that they get that. There are some people who would take notice. It might reduce it a little bit.
Can I make a comment as well? I understand, and I might be wrong, that you can use ordinary waste bins.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't know that when I had a dog. Perhaps it could be publicised a bit more.
Yeah.
I've got a Teams meeting with Whichehaven on Wednesday evening. I'll bring up about signage as part of the, so I want to speak to them about littering and all sorts of stuff within the town, and how we can promote as a council better, what we're doing. So I'll mention that as well, because it's not just,
No.
it's poo bags in trees and all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
annoying thing. They put it in a food bag and then chuck it into the bin.
Exactly, yeah, so, yeah,
Ridiculous.
so I can put that on the list just to discuss with him, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments on that? No, okay. Item, where are we? 7, biodiversity and conservation. To confirm a series of initiatives currently being taken forward to support and in collaboration with partner agency Worcestershire Wildlife.
So, quick summary of information really, this one. Got a really good working relationship with Worcestershire Wildlife Trust. That goes way back to the Natural Networks, so a lead partner on that. But they've recently done 2 pop-up displays for their membership and just general interest and bulb planting for the public. That was at Spring Meadow and at Cockwood Park. We've got Julie Granger, their lead liaison person, coming to full council for a presentation and Q&A early on the agenda on the 27th. And they also are hosting with CBS this back walk on 7th of May. So it's a talk at the old library at 7 and then a back walk around Lido Park afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go on the back walk, it starts at 7. They're going to have refreshments and then they're going to go for a walk in the park. Well, I think maybe they might even have a bat sensor or something that picks up signal. But because they're trying to assess numbers at the moment, if you do want to go, could you let them know so that they can
Numbers of places.
refreshments and so on.
Yes.
Just say that the speech is going to be from Cody Levine. Cody Levine is the ecologist at County Council and he is brilliant. He's a real knowledge on bats. He's the man who introduced the red lights for bats because some species cannot cope with the light. So some can, some can't. And he's introduced the lights, which I know many other authorities have contacted him to get his knowledge about. So if you want to know about bats, he is the man.
That sounds great.
In Batman. We had one fly into our bedroom once. I went and hid in the loo while Eric dealt with it. I must admit.
Usual solution.
Yes. Right. Number 8, Christmas lighting. Oh goodness me, talking about Christmas already. To update that WTC street lighting have introduced revisions to street lighting state policy with the effect from January 2026.
So we're just informing on this one, Chairman. as it says, the county had a new streetscapes policy from January. So what that looks at is new legislation on attachments to street lighting infrastructure, so lamppost columns, power, all those sorts of aspects. So inevitably that's going to cause some revisions to our scheme, which is a contractual obligation with 2 years left to run. So what we've managed to arrange is representatives from street lighting to meet with KT&I and also our festive lighting company to do this revision. We've been trying to progress this since January for the reason that if we've got to get permissions and new attachments, it takes time, and we don't want it to compromise or affect negatively our Christmas lights come November. So time's of essence, but that meeting is in here on Wednesday, and hopefully it's conducive to us getting a good solution.
Yeah.
It's not just affecting here, it's affecting everywhere county-wide.
Yeah. See, it's amazing, these two deal with Christmas in January. Item 9, UK Town of Culture 2028.
So this one's just to recap. We submitted the application, which is quite a lot of work, on the 30th of March, deadline was 31st. So it's a partnership submission with the Place Board. I have got it as an agenda item, irrespective of whether we know the outcome or not, for the 27th of April's full council. So it'll go out of the pack next week. And Matt Nichol, Chairman of Place Board and colleague, he will attend full council as well, just generally on Place Board matters on the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
So we're waiting whether we've got through to the shortlist stage or not. But if we haven't, the work that's gone into it is transferable to any other funding bids with a bit of adaptation variation. So it's work invested and time well spent putting that application together.
Yeah. Across there. Item 10 then, the charter market. I didn't realise we changed service providers.
No, what it is, on this one, Chairman, just to explain to the committee and members, the partnership arrangement has changed. So it was David and Chloe that were the main stakeholders with Bluebell. And David has stepped back and effectively retired, and there's a new partner. So because of that, we've had to do a contractual change, new contract agreement, new insurance that matches the actual setup of the company. So all that's been achieved on Friday and today. So there's no actual change. But what we have asked is whether we can support in helping them get additional stalls, variety, more stalls, just to keep it fresh and upbeat. There is one issue, obviously the Raven, which does restrict what they can do. They've got 20 slots and they're currently filling between 14 and 16 stalls.
Yes.
Can we have a subcommittee meeting for this one?
Yeah.
Because I think we haven't had one for several weeks.
Yeah,
Just to find out where they are
Yeah.
and whether we can help, assist,
Yeah.
do anything to right the market.
Yeah.
Can I suggest that all of us, if we come across a meat store or something, or something we haven't got, quality food, mention that there's some vacancies at the market for stores like that.
And preferably within a reasonable rural catchment.
Yeah.
Droitwich.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The subcommittee, we were hoping to do that, but it's taken a while to change the legal position between the partners. But I did mention that to them on Friday.
Yeah.
So we can arrange that in a month or so.
Yeah.
Item 11, Heritage Centre. Initial proposal to review opening hours for the public.
So on this one, Chairman, once we've got the Heritage Centre reopened with the fantastic new resource, it is agreeable with the heritage managers, and we have touched on it a little bit with the volunteers, to review the opening arrangements to maximise the opportunity. Give an example that in the winter months, say Monday and Tuesday, when the museum's open, there's very few visitors, perhaps between January and March, whereas we could do more seasonally in the summer. And I would say the season is probably from now till about December, because there's a lot going on before Christmas. But to get a better balance with that, it's important that we obviously consult with the team on that, and with the heritage managers there could be some contractual aspects to change as well. It's not something that we can do very quickly, but we're starting to look into it now. We're reopen. And what I've asked Becky to look at is what a lot of our peer museums do and what works best for them, what could be transferred rather than reinventing from scratch. So that one will progress over the next couple of months, and then we'll bring it to council as to what proposals and what ideas we've got. But we could definitely do more at weekends, on Saturdays, bank holidays, those sort of things.
Yeah. Any comments?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Clint. Yes, I think it is a very good idea, because I felt for some time that we perhaps are not maximising the opening to suit when we can get visitors. So I think what we do now is a really great idea. We've now got this new facility, as I always say, we've got it wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll update as that proceeds.
Yeah. Okay. Any comments before I bang my cap? No? Well, there you go.
The speakers are on
Oh, thank you.
Thank you all for attending and this meeting of the Resources Sustainability Committee. Item 1 then, apologies for absence, please.
Yes, Chairman, Councillors Humphreys, Fellows and Simpson.
Thank you. And do we have any declarations of interest, please? No, I'm not seeing any. Item 3 then, to confirm as a correct record the minutes of the meeting on the 23rd of March. Could I have a please? Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you very much. All in favour, please? Thank you very much. Item 4, prostate cancer screening in the community. Consideration for a financial contribution by the Town Council towards this important partnership initiative. Perhaps I may just mention at this part that I have a lot of sympathy with this item. In fact, I was diagnosed with cancer, and unfortunately I received treatment in good time when it could be treated, and that's all now been dealt with. So, as I say, it was actually prostate cancer, and I'm very pleased to have survived it. So,
So we both.
thank you. Would anyone like to comment on this one?
Even though I'm not on the committee, I just want to say that we were supposed to be able to apply for this on Bank Holiday Monday, I think. When I rang, or when I tried online, so it was already fully booked. So there must be a demand for it.
Well, I think one personal comment. One would be crazy not to go and have a test, have a screen if it's available to us, and that suggests that if it's fully booked, then it does suggest that it's successful and needs support. Councillor Franks.
Yeah, just to say that obviously I met the group last year, and quite taken back by what they said about prostate cancer, something I'd never really heard of or knew much about, to be honest. So I did it into putting it in my sort of newsletter. Obviously, recently I received the leaflet, put it online. I think obviously the tests themselves. I've tried talking to the GP practices about this, because there's not a national programme around this. In fact, recently it was declined that they would go ahead with the national programme, which is a real shame, because they use the excuses that the tests are not perfect to say that we're not going to do it. And I think as long as we're honest with people about what the tests represent, and that's why I'm kind of saying it now, because I just feel like we need to disseminate that information about the tests. They're not perfect. There will be false positives, and there'll be ones where they don't pick up on prostate cancer. But there's still a substantial margin right in the middle where it can find something potentially wrong that will lead them on to further sort of examination. And I think as long as we're honest about that to people, these tests should be far more widely available. And I do appreciate that putting an extra £250 unbudgeted into this will make a difference and potentially save a life. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you for that comment. Yes, as you say, the test is not 100% reliable, but nonetheless, if it flags up a potential positive, you then can go to your GP and have a full examination. And in fact, as I did know, I was sent for a scan and all the rest of it. And all of that followed, and as I say, I was very pleased that it worked out for me. So certainly I support it. And I think there's a suggestion here of £250.
Councillor Hopkins.
Oh, yes, my side is going on.
Yes, the only point I'd like to make is that I have had a PSA test every year in all the doctors' practices that I've been to, including the one here, who simply ask for it and they get it.
Yeah.
So, you know, they don't include it in the annual test that they do. But when you say to the person who's doing it, oh, I want a PSA, they put it down and they do it. And at one stage,
because it's not in their framework. They don't include it because it's not in their quality framework.
well,
Yeah.
what I
It
can
should
say
be.
is that
Yeah, it should be.
having a few years ago when I was in Wales, having run and going for the tests, I didn't have cancer. I had a different thing. But that was solved and it was painless virtually. So it seems to me that people should understand that they can ask their doctors, nurses, for it anyway.
And I think the other thing is the understanding that prostate cancer leads to other cancers as well, such as bone cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, secondaries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a definite, it needs to be broadcast a bit better.
But it also comes into the size of prostate, which is a major, actually, a big problem for people, that there's something gets stuck. And I had that one day.
Yeah.
That was no fun. And I went straight to the hospital and had to wear a thing for 3 months before they did anything. But there was no cancer. It was just an issue. So, as I say, people should at least be told that they're not doing anything special to say, can you include that?
Would you like to?
Yes,
There's more
thank you,
information.
Chairman. Just a bit of background. The approach came from Councillor Della as well as Councillor Franks on this, and I think the involvement of CDS is important just to profile because they take the lead on it locally with Peter Corbishley. So I'll just send this around. There's only one copy, I'm afraid, but it just gives a bit of background of what the Worcestershire Prostate Cancer Group are looking at in terms of success and the picture they're trying to develop. So there's no question that it's in competition with what's available through GPs or anything, but it will certainly add value, the proposal to basically double the amount. It will answer Councillor Davidson's comment that those places were taken up very quickly. So my anticipation is if this is resolved now, tomorrow I can contact Peter and say that Town Council will be another stakeholder and provide 250 to match that. That will widen that provision for the community, but also it strengthens the initiative because this has got West Midlands coverage and the claim. Tonia's speaking at the conference in Birmingham next week in support for Peter to say what a difference this has made to the local community. That's without our 250 contribution. So there's sort of two benefits with this, really.
Can I just make a comment? I did accompany my 90-something-year-old dad for the other kind of tests that they used to do, and I think I'll refer this. He was told he did possibly have prostate cancer, but as he was approaching 100, it wasn't exactly terminal, which is what he asked for.
George, yes.
Am I correct in reading from our previous meeting that there's £500 left in the budget, in the grants budget anyway?
There is, but still an open fund. So the reason I put this on the resources is it's an unbudgeted cost when we set the estimates back in January. So we can find this, whether it's from contingencies or another cost centre, but we can't really take it from the grants provision because there are other pending grant applications this year.
That was what I was more thinking is whether there was much time for other grant applications coming in, or whether it'd be worth us offering them support to put in an application for the remaining 500.
We can't really put our own application into our own fund, but we can find 250 to support the prostate at this time separately.
Yeah.
It was more whether it was come from DCVS, so they're taking sort of legal.
We support DCBS with grants anyway through resources, so that's not affected by.
But I think we've got a mechanism, and which is on the agenda. Councillor Franks?
It was just to ask the 250, when that, if obviously that goes through tomorrow, is that going to open up more spaces at the existing events?
I don't know, I need to speak to Peter, but the reason I can't speak to Peter first is I don't want to be assumpted that we've resolved it before we have. So I said to Tonya I would speak to him after this meeting.
Will you relay, if he just ask him that and then relay what he says?
Well, I'll ask him about publicity as well.
Thank
I
you.
mean, that just a personal comment there is that, and taking Councillor Hopkins' point, but even so, this will give more publicity. And again, if we can encourage people to pick up these tests through whichever mechanism, then I think it'll be a useful thing that we've done. Do we have any more comments on this one?
So if they have a proposed second, all in favour for
Yeah.
250 contribution.
Okay, for the 250 then, could I have a proposer? Thank you. And a seconder, please. Councillor Ravier. And all in favour, please.
I'm going to see it. I'm going to put your hand up anyway, even though I'm not on the parliament committee.
I don't think we're going to argue with you on this one, Councillor Franks. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we come to item 5, to consider the exclusion of the public and press by passing the motion as on the paper. The public and press and public now be excluded from the meeting. Could I have a proposer for that, please? Radio seconder, please. Councillor Duffy. All in favour, please. Thank you. And we'll just wait while the electronics is